Hello and welcome to Live Coding Happy Hour here on the ServiceNow Developer YouTube channel. Thank you for joining us. I almost went right into my introduction. That's not very polite. On this show, we do our guests first. So let's start with our introductions. Brad, we forgot to plan it.
We did not plan. My name is Brad Tilton. I'm a developer advocate with a developer program here at ServiceNow. I have been developing on the platform for about 12 years, and I am excited to be here on our first show back from our knowledge hiatus.
See what happens when we take a few weeks off. We need to be retrained. And Mark, why don't you introduce yourself?
Mark Roethof, working for Quint Technology. Quint Technology is a ServiceNow partner based in the Netherlands, and I'm now a platform architect since this year, and now about 4.5 years into ServiceNow. And before this, I was working in orchestration.
Very nice, very nice. And don't want to get too far into this. Anybody who's just watching this for the first time or joining us and wondering what is going on here, we are going to be doing some live, non-scripted work on the ServiceNow platform. So you can see how we do it, what problems we run into, how we can connect the dots. We've invited Mark in as a subject matter expert on today's topic. I'll let him do the introduction on what we're going to be doing today because I forgot. No, I know it has something to do with Instant Scan. The man is really doing a great job at branding himself as the expert in a few of these functional areas. So before we get too much further, let's introduce our beers in the same order.
All right, I think I had this on the last live code, but this is maybe my favorite beer at the moment. Avery Brewing Tweak. It is a stout with coffee, aged in bourbon barrels, of course.
Excellent.
I've got in my Aussie stubby holder a Cooper's Pale Ale. Yeah, have had it before. This is also the last one from the batch, and I'm waiting on my new Aussie beers actually. So yeah.
I was gonna say I'm pretty sure Cooper's is an Aussie beer. Yes.
Yeah.
And what style was that? Is that a lager or is that a?
It's a pale ale.
Okay. Yeah, you did mention that. I'm just a little slow today for whatever reason.
Chuck, they're wondering if you're going to introduce all the beers in front of you.
No, it's not that kind of a day. If we were doing, like OAuth via script, yeah, then I would be, hitting each one of these real fast. But today I am going to be pulling out the Dragon's Milk. I believe you had this on Andrew's goodbye party on our not so happy hour last time. So this is one of my top rated beers of all time. I really, really enjoy this. It's been a long time since I've had one, so we'll see what happens.
Also, let us know what you're drinking in the chat if you are drinking along with us.
And now over to Mark to tell us what we are going to be doing today.
Yeah, we're going to have a look again at Instant Scan, and actually trying to have a look if we can go a level deeper. Like we know we've got Instant Scan, and maybe you guys been building some checks and performing some scans manually on instances. But what if you want to automate Instant Scan, or can you embed Instant Scan in your way of working? So that's actually what I want to have a look at, and I've been looking at scripting Instant Scan before on your own instance. I've also written an article on that, and it works fine. But now also, what if you want to perform an instance scan on another instance. For example, because you're working with agile development and you've got stories or sprints, and the sprint finishes, and maybe instance scan should be triggered at that moment. And obviously, there are lots of different cases for every company. But yeah, just let's have a look if we can automate some things. I did start with this a few weeks ago. There was a Create a Toolbox episode, and Andrew Barnes showed an APIs page for CI/CD. And I noticed on that page, it said health scan. So I thought, health scan? What about instance scan? So I immediately jumped into the instance REST API Explorer, and I saw, hey, there are multiple APIs available. So I started playing with those, and then, then basketball playoffs came around, so I didn't do anything in the May of month for ServiceNow. But now I've got time again. So yeah, let's pick up again.
I like it. So you verified there are REST APIs.
Yeah.
Are there also scripting APIs? Or what's our goal here? Are we making spokes or something? Or
yeah, it's like I would like to show the REST APIs first, and then we're going to spokes indeed, because it's nice to have REST APIs and that we can use them in business rules or scripting includes or whatever. But yeah, can we actually use them within Flow Designer, Actions, or spokes? I know there are 3 out-of-the-box spokes available, but actually not the spokes that I'm after. I want to go a step further. So yeah, let's have a look if we can create those spokes today, and hopefully tie them to a flow already, and see if we can get results and scans going on another instance. So yeah, that's the goal, I guess.
I'm ready if you are.
Okay, let me start doing the screen share.
Chuck, do you want to give us a real quick rundown on what instant scan is while Mark is starting to share his screen?
So instant scan is something that came out in Quebec. It's been a long time in development and growth, I'll say. It started way back in probably 2012 with something we used to run internally called configuration. What was it called back then?
ACE, right? Wasn't it ACE?
Well, ACE was one of the outgrowths of that.
Okay.
Originally, this thing started as a bunch of scripts that some of the senior technical consultants would go and run on a customer's instance to make sure they were observing best practices and avoiding bad practices that could cost them with upgrades and performance and usability and a number of these lenses that we could look through to really get a good introspection of the work they had done, because we had heard from customers that, hey, it's hard to upgrade. Well, stop messing with the DOM in your client scripts, and that's easier said than done. So the vision since the beginning was, we want to put this in the hands of our customers. And there was always some pushback, especially from partners who were saying, well, what if I did an implementation in 2010 that didn't observe the best practices, and now customer runs this scan and says, hey, come back here and fix this. And it took forever. It really took forever. It lived on high for a few years prior to now, called Health Scan, and you could get support to trigger this. And we still had the customer outcomes, or professional services as they used to be called, given the ability to go in, run a report, and walk you through it was an additional service. Instead of just saying, here's your report, it was, let's talk about what our remediation steps are for that. Well, now you've got this in your hands, and as Mark has shown us, it's not just for the configuration. I believe when you were on Creator Toolbox, we were looking at ways to inspect the data to make sure that all users have a manager, for example. So if you ever hit an approval, it doesn't fall through because, oh, you don't have a manager. It's automatically approved. Like, no. So you can introspect your data integrity as well, which I absolutely love. I'm keeping that, wheels are still turning on how we can employ that in various pet projects that we have around here. So that's my 25-cent tour of Instant Scan.
Awesome, thanks.
Yeah, totally agree on it. Yeah. Let's share. Do you see my ServiceNow instance now?
I see your performance homepage dashboard thing.
Okay, yeah.
You
Or
want to
it's
give
a-
us
it's a
like
graphic.
one
It's-
level of zoom, maybe?
Another one? Okay.
It could be the city of New York. I'm
There
not
we go.
sure.
Okay. So yeah, the first thing I just wanted to show is what I already told about the REST APIs that are available. And well, obviously you could go to the docs or the developer side, but I'm just jumping into REST API Explorer immediately. So here it is. And if we change the namespace to the CI/CD one, then you'll notice that there's an API for instance scan. And that's really, really, really nice. There are multiple APIs here. Most of them you'll get up and running pretty quickly. For example, if you want to execute the full instance scan, you don't have to add any parameters at all. You can just run it and that's it. So we'll just hit send and it's already been performed.
That almost feels a little wrong to have a post with no parameters, no payload. What?
I guess this is also the most simple one. But yeah, then we also got a point scan. That's if you, for example, want to do a scan on a business rule or a specific client script. So specific objects. And for that point scan, you just need to give the table name and the sysid. That's it. Also, this one runs immediately. We've got here the progress ID. That's maybe one you want to run latest, because that one would give you an URL and a URL to the scan findings, etc. But then we come across these three. And these are also the ones I'm actually after for Flow Designer and creating spokes, because for these three, there are no spokes. Well, getting the combo scan. Yeah, the highlighting is gone. Getting the combo scan up and running is pretty easily, but the ones for the scoped apps and the update sets, those need a bit more attention. So I'll just show those. So for example, I've got here the one for the scoped apps. So you would just provide a suite sysid. So let's have a look for a certain suite. And I'll just take the best practices.
Right.
Copy sysid.
I did notice that one was false. I don't know if that's going to matter, but
just to be sure, this one. Yeah, I've set it false because this is my kind of production environment. So that's why I put the best practices on false. And my thought is a bit like, because we didn't mention that, instance scan, you can also run it on your production instance. It's not limited only to development.
Right.
But in my mind, like doing checks on, for example, business rules, before business rules which contain current.update, you're not going to scan that on your production instance. You're typically doing that on your development instance. But scanning if users have an active manager, yeah, it's not that useful to do that on a development instance. It's more useful to do that on a production instance. So there's also some differences in that.
Yeah, I could see if you had like you were scanning some reporting stuff, like, you know, reporting can greatly affect performance. So that's probably something at some point that people will want to scan, and that's a thing you'd probably scan in prod as people are building reports there.
Yeah, for sure. Let's paste this sysid in, and
I'm curious to see the response payloads.
Yeah, because if I
Uh-oh.
send it now, you'll get an error, and well, then I do need to go to the docs page or the developer site. So let's open the APIs. And it's pretty well described. So we were looking for the scoped apps. I don't know why it's plural, but yeah, it makes it sometimes confusing. But anyway, this has some really good documentation. This has been updated in April, I think. This documentation wasn't around when Quebec came out, but a month later this got updated, and yeah, this is really, really good information. We are looking for
There it is.
this one, yeah. Because the suite sysid we've already got, but we do need this part.
So you can scan more than one scope at a time.
Yeah, indeed, yeah. So we need to have this in the request body. So let's go back, and we can just add it here. There was one thing I noticed. You do need to add some curly braces. It's not on the docs page, but you do need to add them.
You're right.
Else it won't work. And now we can just use one scope sysid or multiple. I think we can just do global as well. And the global sysid is just global, I guess.
I believe that's true.
I don't know what the story is behind that, but anyway.
It's probably along the same lines as the sysid for... Someone forgot to mute his phone. Apologies.
I don't know if your beers were playing music.
No, the sysid for the default view on SysUI view is actually default. So now there's two that I know. Two sysids that are not 32 character hex.
Oh, okay.
Global is the sysid for the global scope.
And -1.
Easter eggs. Don't make the sysid -1. That creates a new record.
I just executed the REST call with the body that I added. And yeah, it already returned 200. Of course, now it runs on this instance. So if I would go to the results, it should have executed. And yeah, indeed, we see this one.
Neat.
This is the most recent one.
What is the response payload just the progress ID?
Let me check. What does it give?
There's lots of goodness in there. So there's progress.
Yeah, because you actually need this progress ID, so you can trigger the other API, which is progress ID.
Yep.
Because we've got this one.
Because it's happening asynchronously. You don't know whether this is going to take 2 seconds or 50 seconds.
Indeed. Yeah, because it depends on the checks you've built, but some checks might just take 5 or 10 seconds. But if you did a lot of script checks, that are script only checks or linted checks, those can really take minutes. So then it will take a lot longer. But if you just got the table checks, then it will only be some seconds. But yeah, we've got a progress ID, and you could use that progress ID with the get scan results, and then you will also get a URL for the scan findings and etc. So yeah, then you could even do more. But yeah, with this we can already trigger a scan. So this is already good to know. In this case, we only did one scope, but obviously you could just expand this another sysid or something, and then it's up and running. And actually, this is almost the same for the update sets. it is just, I guess, update sets sysids from the top of my mind.
Okay.
But similar technique.
Dorian had a question. You would need to know the sysids of the scope if you're scanning on another instance.
Yeah.
So you might want to do a table API to retrieve those from sysunder_app or something. The other option is most of the time, let's say you're doing this from dev to scan prod, for example, your apps are going to have the same sysids across those instances. So whatever you find locally should work most of the time.
Yeah, I think for the scoped apps, indeed, in most cases, the sysids will be the same. It will be a bit more difficult if you are going to scan the update sets, because those are still in development, only on your development instance, and they're not yet on your production instance. So if you would want to scan update sets from your production instance, then somehow you would need to get your hands on the sysid of the update sets. I have seen customers building apps or adding tables or fields which contain the update set sysid. So that could be a way of working, but that will also really depend on every company, because the way of working is so different for every company.
Yep.
Yeah, it does feel like if your use case is that you're using Agile Dev and Prod and you want to trigger these based on that, you're probably already tracking those update sets. You know, it's fairly straightforward to build into Agile development, the ability to create update sets in Dev anyway. Yeah. So I think for this use case, you probably have that data.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Yeah. So with this knowledge and getting the scoped apps API up and running, let's just jump into Flow Designer and have a look if we can build some spokes. I already saw that there are 3 out-of-the-box spokes, which look pretty okay. So also with the outputs, so I don't have to create the spokes completely from the bottom up. I can use the out-of-the-box ones. That also helps me a bit because I actually haven't built a spoke yet myself. But that's interesting also to see how much effort it will take.
We can help you there.
Know a guy doing an integration series that should be helpful.
It's not going as fast as he'd like.
So like these are the 3 out-of-the-box spokes available. And again, for the progress ID to get your scan results, we've got a spoke to execute a full scan and a spoke to do a scan on specific objects like a business rule, client script, whatever. That's the point scan. But we don't have out-of-the-box spokes, to trigger a scan for certain scoped apps or update sets or even a combo record. So let's have a look what we can do there. Let's just take this one. I think the base of these are already pretty nice. Like, we've got the inputs pretty clear. The outputs are already here. So, this already looks pretty nice. The only thing we would like to do different is, what's here in the rest step. So, we'll just go and duplicate this one.
Somebody is a lot more industrious than I am. They're breaking out their outputs into individual fields. I just usually return a complex object and say, here, I'm done. You parse it.
So let's just copy it. And it would be the instance scan, execute. Let's do the update sets.
Check the application list, because ideally it wouldn't be bad to put this action in with the others. is the
Yeah.
continuous improvement, blah, 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 in our list.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. Yeah,
There
because
we
I think one of the things which makes the definition of a spoke is also that it's in a scoped app, and it
Yes.
should be an object or an action which you can run separately from anything else, I guess.
Yeah, basically a spoke is a scope. And the nice thing is if you name the scope with the ending word being spoke, it will recognize that when you do your action and list pull down in Flow Designer. It will leave off the word spoke, but you've still got that description to go, oh, I know what this scope is. It's a spoke. This is really sounding like Dr. Seuss at this point. But that's kind of a nice nomenclature, a naming standard. If you put spoke on the end of there, it will
Wow.
strip it off in the menu, but you still recognize it in your list of applications as a spoke.
Yeah. Okay. Let's just copy this one. Yeah. So this can stay the same. We don't need this one anymore. I think I've zoomed in a bit
I
too
think you did. You zoom out.
So
The hazards of demos.
the instance URL, yeah, and then we need where's the plus? Oh, here's the plus sign. We need the update set.
Don't do what I did on Tuesday and spell it wrong.
I'm wondering, is it update set or is it update sets? Let's have a check on the docs page.
Well, and you don't have to name you don't have to label your inputs the same as.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah, sure.
I often look at that and say, how can I make it a little more user friendly?
So I make it mandatory. Yeah, I guess that's already for this. Let's go to this one. Instance scan, that's the same. We do need to change this one because that's, I believe, what I just copied. Let me check.
Update sets.
Oh yeah, update sets and the suite sysid. Oh, we also need to provide the suite sysid. Okay, that's also a good one. So I need to add the, where's the plus sign here?
A sweet sysid.
Okay, and okay, that. So we've got, and then I hope we can do, can we do this? Yeah, I think so. So like this.
Yes, if the base URL is correct, you can just add that on.
Yeah.
Or maybe I should save first.
Always a good idea. Always a good idea.
We can get no argument from any of us.
Suite sysid. Don't see it popping up now.
I always agonize over the inputs because I'm trying to imagine how people would use this, what inputs they will be sending me. Should I ask for a record? Should I ask for a sysid? Should I ask for an array? It's good to put some thought into these.
So now we've got the resource path, but we still need
You need the query parameter for the suite sysid, right?
yeah, but we got it. We got that one already here, I guess. So
Oh, you could. Oh, yes, that's a path parameter.
I
Sure.
think we need what was it? This. Yeah, we need this.
Yeah.
You need
The request
body.
parameters.
There it is.
So that would be something like this. Not sure if we also need to do, but oh well, we'll see.
Yes, you do.
Because that's how I tested it just a
Yeah.
few minutes ago with the REST API Explorer. So
That's what makes building integrations within Flow Designer so fast. I think you need some quotes around that though. You got to close your data pill. Yes.
But then.
Oh, if they send you several of them, that's not going to work.
Can we?
You may want to put that into the pre-processing script then to maybe to stringify or to turn it into that right format and then send the data pill from your pre-processing script into the payload.
Or can we also use the functions on this to?
Maybe.
What do we have?
We do have some string and array stuff.
What do we have?
Split.
Oh, split.
We'll turn it into an array.
Ooh, that's a nice one. Yeah, let's just.
For the separator, comma. Yeah. And what does it return?
Let's just try this. Okay.
This is why we have live coding happy hour.
To test. Oh, we don't need to publish to test, I guess.
Yeah, we just test.
So now I actually want to trigger on another instance.
What was that? New York? That we cheered. It's like, yay, I can test in action.
So let me check this one. Now I need update set. Where's the?
I always have a notepad or a text editor of some sort with all these magic numbers with sitting around.
Yeah, mine always end up in different. Like I'll have one in OneNote, one in VS Code, one in.
Yes.
I always forget where they are.
I used to love TextEdit, but now they force me to upgrade to BEdit. But TextEdit, you could shut down the whole application and bring it back, and all of your unsaved work is still there. Like I had 50 scratch pads of sysids and little test scripts. I don't want to save my work. I'm not that committed to this script.
Does Sublime still do that? I used to use Sublime for that. All right.
I just grabbed some sysids. This is the other instance. So let's run it. Now it's hopefully.
You set up your credentials and connections?
Yeah, I've done that before the show. Just also the user, so that would save us 5 to 10 minutes. So
that's one of my upcoming videos. I've got it scripted. I haven't recorded it yet, but the whole connection, credentials, and aliases, and using them to set up OAuth. Got to get those done now.
What does it say?
Oh, method failed.
Okay.
A 400.
So what did we send it? Do we know?
Method failed.
Method failed.
Do we see the request payload? Scroll up a little bit.
We have a guess that the resource path was incorrect.
Oh, okay.
Maybe.
The resource path, okay.
The base URL.
Ooh, go back to the docs. Do we need sweet scan in the name? That was the.
I think we do. Instance scan was the base URL of all of them. I think you're right.
Oh.
Sweet scan,
Yep,
yes.
after instance scan comes sweet scan.
Oh, yeah.
Extra points to Dorian.
Oh, sharp. Sharp. That's good. Instance scan, sweet scan, and then the.
And the sysid.
And then the update set. Or not? I guess so. Yeah, update sets. Okay. So, yeah. Okay. So let's save again.
You have to ask the right questions to get the right answers.
So.
Otherwise, the computer just goes, what?
And sysid update set.
And you can set defaults here. Yeah, man.
Really?
I knew Andrew was going to chime in with it.
Oh,
Yeah, you can set defaults so you don't have to do those every time
okay.
on your inputs.
You wouldn't want to send it to production that way, but that'll save you some testing time, definitely.
I default to everything to production. But just kidding. Don't do that. Yeah.
Okay, so what has it done now? 200.
100.
Okay.
Hey.
That's a good sign.
Well, okay, let's just look at that instance.
Results?
Let's look at the results. And okay, that's
What's
mine.
finding?
Because here it's now not the 3rd of June anymore, but the 4th. So yeah, it got executed and we've actually got one finding, so that's good. So yeah, we've got this spoke already up and running.
So the update set, the split we did and everything that worked.
I don't know. Send it 3 IDs and find out.
Yeah.
Tough to split one thing.
Okay.
I do want to try more
rolling
than
the
one
dice.
to make sure.
Yeah. So let's have a look for another update set and just grab this one. Copy sysid, paste. So now we've got these are the same. Oh, that's not good. This one. Yeah. Okay. I hope it runs. Else we should have sticked with the happy flow, but we'll see. 200.
Wow.
Okay. Good.
I'd like to see the request.
Oh yeah, sure.
More details on that. So there's the results.
Yeah.
Did it run both of them?
Yeah, that's a good one. Let me check. Yeah, update set.
Wow. Yeah.
Comma this one. Yeah. So
Well done. Well done.
All right. Phil says take a drink. I agree.
Oh yeah. don't forget.
Have been.
Okay, so this went pretty quickly, and this was about the update sets. This is also together with the scoped apps, the 2 ones that are the most difficult ones, because without the docs you won't get this up and running. But yeah, if this one goes that quickly, we could already duplicate this one and get the scoped apps one up and running. So, but anyway, Chuck, what did you want to see from this?
The request, just the details of the request in that step.
What's being returned? Or
Yeah, scroll down where it says steps, the step
Yeah.
logs. Yeah.
yeah.
And let's look into the step 2. So there's your base URL as it was spit out. And then the request body had update sets. That's interesting. It says com.snc.c object complex object. That'd be a little hard to debug, wouldn't it? But that's an array, I guess.
Yeah, that's a bit hard for us, but it did execute the correct ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As long as it worked.
Okay, that's a bit strange.
Nice creative use of a data pill function.
So just to step back, this use case is basically like, hey, I have a story, I've completed it. There's an update set in my dev environment that's and it's all done. I close it, and then when I close my story, I'm going to run an instant scan against that update set to make sure that it follows all the best practices before we deploy it anywhere.
Yeah, that could be one of the use cases. Because this is in particular an update set. But if we are doing the scoped apps scan, then it could also be like, hey, you're closing your sprint, and maybe you want to scan your whole instance at that moment. So yeah, that's also you do have to think about your way of working and how you are going to embed it in your company. But yeah, there are multiple things to yeah, think of like you're mentioning a story which goes to ready for testing or to complete, and then a flow should trigger which executes this. Or maybe you are even working with Scrum tasks and you've got a Scrum task automated code review. And once that task is being created or gets into a certain state, that the flow gets triggered. So maybe that's also a good one, that we just build a small flow now, because we can actually use this spoke, I guess, just publish it.
Yeah, something I thought about for the just using the API, it wouldn't work with the spoke, but you know, if you had if you were working a scoped app and you made a Git commit, you could use like a GitHub action to then trigger the instance scan based on that API, right? Like against the scoped app.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that would be interesting as well. Yeah. Let's just create a small flow now. Trigger update set scan. Yeah, just this. Let's leave this as it is for now. Because what we want to do, for example, if go away. If, a story is being updated. I guess I've got a story on the instance already. Like, for example, we have this story, and this story, well, it's assigned to the ServiceNow DevOps team, and it's a type development. And if this moves to ready for testing, then the flow should kick in.
Yeah, I like it.
Typically, we would embed the actions into a subflow and then trigger those from a flow, because they're a little more repurposable in a subflow, and you may need to add extra steps.
Oh yeah,
Subflow to do branching and whatnot, and
yeah,
also allows you to call from like UI actions where you need to pass inputs.
yeah. Yeah, and certainly also when you already got something for your CI/CD or your whole pipeline, then it would be easier to embed that subflow, I guess. So yeah, we only don't have update set field or whatever here. So I'll just paste the update set sysid within here.
For demo purposes.
Yeah, indeed.
That feels safe.
Because yeah, like I mentioned, that will differ for every company how you go with this. So
I recommend reference fields over string fields that you paste sysids into.
for sure. Yeah,
There's a couple of places within the platform that ServiceNow developers have built out. What were you thinking? A sysid in a string field? What?
So for story and the assignment group should be ServiceNow DevOps, I guess. Yeah. And type, where's type? Oh, here, yeah, is development and state changes. Let me check. Oh, changes to.
There you go.
Ready for test. Okay. Yeah, now the only thing might be that you have to think about the trigger, because if you do once and the story would go back to work in progress and then again to ready for testing, yeah, the flow won't be triggered again. But yeah, that's more to think of for your way of working, I guess.
Not that any of us have ever been stopped by that. Spent 30 minutes going, why won't this run? Oops.
So is it this one? Yeah, this is the one we just built. So we'll just give the instance URL. Oh, and this, I did the description field, I believe.
Yep.
So we should be able to drag it. Yeah. Then, yeah, the suite sysid, that's then the only one that you're putting hard coded here. That's also something to think about in the future, because yeah, putting a hard coded sysid there, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I wonder if you would take like your subflow would have maybe a reference to your test, and then your flow would just pick the, or to your scan, and then the suite, and then your flow would just pick the right one.
Yeah.
That could work.
Yeah, because you could have a subflow that does this, and right, and it's just running any update set scan, and then your flow you could have multiple flows that run different types of scans on the update sets.
Yeah. Pick your update set, pick your suite, and I'll do the rest.
Yeah. So let's just see if this already works. Yeah, we don't have that much time today, but I guess normally you would also add more steps to this, like, hey, we get some feedback from the results, so maybe we want to write something to the story or the Scrum task, or maybe we even want to add another action to get information about the scan findings, so that you could really enrich it.
This would be a great place for a do until also, because you want to check that status at least once.
Until it's done.
And make sure that your progress is done, so you could take advantage of the one that's already available out of the box.
Yeah, that's also an interesting one to think about, because it could be that some of the scans, will be running for 5 to 10 seconds,
right?
But some will also really be running for 10 minutes. So you should be thinking about, because the do until, you will also do a timer or something in between, like, well, you have to check it after a minute again or something.
Right. That's a good point. I often forget that. You just don't want this thing hammering the API every 5 seconds. Going, are you done? Are you done? Are you done? Are you done?
But I've activated this small flow. Let's just reload this one. Let's see if this is running if we change the state to ready for testing. Let's see if it says it's in progress. Yeah, obviously, because it's running asynchronously. Yeah, I didn't change the trigger. So still waiting. Come on.
Great.
Okay, there it is. Yes.
Got me nervous there, Mark.
Well, I've got a check actually, which checks if all queues are being taken care of. So that's a nice one also, because if one of the processes for Flow Designer is not running, one of the schedules, then you can wait a long time. But it says 200, so that sounds good. Let's go to this instance.
Complete.
Yeah, again it ran. Well, okay, no findings here, unfortunately, but it did get run, and also on the update set. So
so is the finding count returned as part of the status when you check the progress?
No, because this is asynchronously, so you will only get the progress ID.
Right. Okay. So you would have to check the progress API.
Yeah.
To get, does the progress API return the finding count, or what does it return?
We could have a look at that one. Do we have?
I thought we had the action already open somewhere, or we could open the other. We could open the action.
Yeah, we could just open the action indeed, because I don't think we.
Don't you wish we had tools like this 10 years ago?
Oh man.
Yeah, this is really like, I should look for actions. It's really like instant scan, and then also adding a next level like these spokes. I think this is so huge. This is so valuable.
Yeah.
Yeah, because instant scan should be really the core of everyone who's doing development, who's configuring, doing customizations.
Yeah.
Then if you could embed this in your way of working, yeah,
Oh, we don't need to test. We could just look at what the, well, go ahead.
yeah, because we can
The output variables.
progress ID.
Never mind. Yeah.
So
URL.
and this is also a really nice example, I think, about Flow Designer and spokes, like how quickly you can actually build such an integration. It's actually crazy.
Yes.
Because now I just opened this action. I just filled in these 2 mandatory fields, and this should already provide, yeah, a working, 200.
200. And what does it say?
So
Nothing about findings, or was it in the payload somewhere? The response?
okay.
There we are.
So what does it give?
Status 2. What's a status 2?
So it gives the result ID.
So then you could go and query for that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess so. Yeah, this is the result.
And the result URL.
Yeah.
Oh,
So you could do a lookup record on any of this stuff and get what you want. Nice. Okay. Then make decisions if you had findings. Okay.
because what does this then?
It's more generic and more useful than I would have made it. Our developers have much better design discussions than I have with myself.
Okay, I'll never do that. Oh, I won't need this.
Yeah. But if we had 2 more parameters, we can make it really useful.
I guess we need this one then.
That'll take you right to the record. And that's just a breakout of what's on the line above.
Yeah, it's already the same. So we really need to go to the result. Yeah. But I guess you could then just use the normal table API that's already available.
You could you could use the table API, or you could do a lookup record and say, give me the record on the result table where the sysid is.
Oh yeah.
Results.id. Lots of different ways you could deal with that and say, if the findings is greater than 0, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you could send an email to the owner of the story and say, hey, here's your results. It was more than 0, so go take a look at them.
With a link right to the results.
Yeah.
Something went wrong, you review it.
Yeah, because obviously we now only triggered the scan and nothing is done in the story or in the sprint, or no notifications indeed. But yeah, so that would be the next step. But now we already have got the first part actually working, and that we can trigger scans on other instances. And with spokes, we've created one spoke ourselves. It's the most complex one, so we could easily duplicate that for the scoped apps also. Yeah, that's
fun. Boy, that gives you a lot of things to think about in terms of automating your DevOps.
Yeah. In a short time, so yeah, that feels good.
I call that a win. Good ending point.
Yeah. Can we show more or? No, yeah, I think this is it for now. Were there any questions? I didn't follow the chat.
Based on the REST API, can this be triggered from Jira?
Yeah, and my comment was like anything that can hit a REST API can trigger all these things because we have the API. So yeah, I think you could trigger this from whatever system you're managing your development through, or like I mentioned with the GitHub Actions, any development pipeline that you're using. Most of the time those can hit a REST API. So yeah, I think you could. This is pretty versatile in terms of how you can trigger it.
There's also good old-fashioned scripted REST APIs too. You can always write your own endpoint and have Jira hit that, or anybody hit that, and then run whatever script you want. Maybe it's a script that triggers a flow or a subflow. Yep.
Or it's you could create a flow that has a REST endpoint as the trigger. What are we? REST API trigger for flow, and then use your flow to orchestrate all these things. So flows on REST APIs on flows. Yeah.
Ouch. The beer is just shutting my brain down on that one. You went too far over the top. I need a Venn diagram or something.
Okay.
I think we're kind of at time here. So
Yep. Kill the screen share, Mark.
Okay.
Let's get you to bed.
So stop the screen share. Yeah.
Very good. Thank you, Mark. That was a lot of good insight. Like you said, we wanted to go a little deeper into the instant scan stuff. We got a taste of some REST. We got some IntegrationHub, building custom actions, spokes. A lot of ground covered, but all well within at least my interest level. I don't know what the viewers thought of this. It looked like the audience was pretty into it. I forgot to mention earlier that we have moved this to Thursdays for the summertime. ServiceNow has graciously granted us Friday afternoons off. And when they made that announcement last week, Brad and I looked at each other and said, what are we doing with live coding happy hour? So we have moved it to Thursdays, a little bit later time. Sorry, all the people in EMEA. You're just going to have to sleep in tomorrow morning or something. But appreciate you joining us live. And if you're watching this afterwards, certainly don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notifications like you normally do. So let's go around and rate our beers. Brad, what did you think?
Yeah, my Avery Tweak is probably my favorite beer at the moment. So I'm going to give it a 4.75. And yeah, I think on the timing, I was going to say that we moved it to this time and made it a little later, just so Upside Down Andrew, it would be more convenient for him.
He's had a chance to
now on his Friday instead of his Saturday, but yeah, I was going to try to play that off, but I guess
he said earlier on, live coding happy hour is actually on Friday this week. Mark, how was your Coopers?
Yeah, my Cooper's Pale Ale. Yeah, it's a good one. I think for being a bit later, yeah, it's a bit lower score, but because we had success, because I think we achieved a lot in a short amount of time, which again is really interesting to see with Flow Designer, that it's possible in so little time. So that's a success. So I guess 4.75.
Ooh, very nice. Well, I have one of my favorites, and I forgot to show this earlier. I haven't finished because this is 11%, so I'm nursing it. I may be doing karaoke tonight, who knows? And Dragon's Milk this is a bourbon barrel aged stout from New Holland Brewing Company. Always a 5 in my book. Oh, we did good. We did good.
Yeah, some good beers today.
Thank you, Mark. If there was a bonus factor, I'd make it 5.25, but we don't want to break the scale and, trigger some flow on Untapped that bans us or something. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Brad, do we have any announcements?
I mean, we've moved live code. We are starting back up though. We'll have regular live code and Creator Toolbox shows. We're going to go UI Builder on Creator Toolbox on Tuesday morning, Friday afternoon. I think we're going to have a special guest and do some Service Portal.
Thursday
Thursday afternoon. Wow. Yes, Thursday afternoon.
We're going to take one of my projects. And yes, we have a special guest coming in next Thursday afternoon for live code.
Yeah, so we should be hitting the Tuesday morning and Thursday afternoon cadence all summer. So,
and sandwiched right between our live streams, we've got another episode of Breakpoint coming out on Wednesday. So watch for that.
Nice.
So thank you very much, everybody, once again for joining us, and we will see you again real soon, if not sooner.
All right.
Bye.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.